All right, so for our initial floor plan, we decided to go with an octagonal shape, and me and him generated different concepts. So our initial idea was to make it a little bit more complicated, almost like an actual floor plan, like real architectural design, because we've both taken architecture before. And then we realized to really just follow the rubric. So the shape continues to stay the same. We had our first 3 floors with a garage, and then this is his.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, for
Just
the
without the
first floor,
garage.
this is basically a design if we're planning to use stairs. It kind of just wraps around the building over here, kind of see. And then for the second floors and the other floors, we just build off of that same stair design. And yeah, it's more of a complex design.
And then we really realized that that's going to be kind of hard to follow the rubric, especially with the lighting. So then we moved to this concept of just making our first, second, and third floor designs with just larger labels. So more representative of a kitchen or a living room, because it's not really to build a house is the project, it's to make something that's representative of a house, that really it just has like open rooms and something you can understand. And then we also decided to use an elevator, really because stairs would be kind of hard to construct, especially on such a small scale, and the elevator is essentially just an encasing going through a column, pretty easy. And I'm good with wiring DC motors, so that's pretty good. And that's it.
Yeah, so this is a closer look at my design of the house. And like I said, this design is based off the idea of if we were going to use stairs. And as you can see, the stairs wrap around the walls of the house. And it creates a more complex look for the house because we have to fit in more rooms with the stairs taking up so much space. And because of that, we just decided to use an elevator because it would take up less space and we would have more freedom to make less complex looking rooms and having to spend so much time on creating such small steps for the stairs. So this is a closer look at Carlo's original design. And just like how I did it, he also used stairs, but this time it isn't leaning against the walls. It's more like a spiral staircase, as you can see with the boxes towards the middle of the first floor plan. And one thing we could agree on is that our house should make use of a garage, and so we made sure to add that. And it's kind of just the whole like hexagonal shape and there being a garage is something that sticked throughout our final decisions for the whole design of the house. These are some other floor plans that were drawn by Carlo, and these floors focus on like the bedrooms, but we ended up not using these designs at all because we just thought that if we were to just stick to the rubric and creating simple rooms, we wouldn't have to work too much. Like you could see in the designs that like all of these rooms kind of just seem compact and it seems all squished in, when we could just have a house with an elevator and create these simple rooms that would get the job done. So now this is a close-up look at the final floor plan designs that we ended up using for our final product. As you can see, compared to the other designs that I showed, this one is way more simple. There are only like 2 rooms per floor. And as you can see on the first floor plan, there is that garage, and the box in the middle represents the elevator. And you could also see the elevator in the second floor plan. And you can see the room 1 and the room 2. And Carlo made sure to draw which side would be open, since it's on the rubric that we have to have at least one side of the house open to see. Although we did base our final product on this floor plan design for the third story. We ended up not going through with the pointed top for our roof. As you can see in the design, the triangles represent the tiles we would use to make the top of our roof pointy, but at the end we just decided to go with the flat top because we thought it would just be doing too much work for no reason. And because we only needed one room, we just decided to go only with one room because we thought it would be the most simplest thing to do, and we would still be checking off the rubric requirements. All right, and now that we chose what our final floor plan would look like, we decided to sketch it on a bigger whiteboard just to finalize our design. And as you can see, we have that garage, the room 1, room 2, and room 3. And on the top left corner, you could see that we specify which each marking on the whiteboard means. For example, we have the striped squares as structuring, the arrows as the doors, and the double lines as the open wall that we need in order to fulfill the rubric requirements. So now this is our finalized look for all 3 of our floor plans. As you can see for our level 1 floor plan on the top right, we just kept that floor plan that I showed you in the picture before this one. For the level 2, we also make use of 3 rooms. For the level 3, like I said, we ended up not using the pointed roof, but instead of a flat roof, and it's still just one room. And as you can see on the bottom left square of this picture, you could see a side view of our whole house. You could see all the 6 rooms on the first 2 floors, the top floor just being one room. But for our final product, we ended up not using that pointed roof, so it does not matter. But one thing to note here is that Carla did a good job at drawing all the sketches to scale by measuring each part out and making sure that everything is accurate instead of just freehanding everything. It's also important to point out that just like the previous picture that I showed you, we did have a key to look at. For example, the single lines meant walls, double lines meant the open wall. And the square with the multiple lines represented the support beams that would be needed in order to keep our structure standing. Arrows, doors, and then roof, and the lights that we needed to have inside of our house. As you can see, most of the lights are in the center of each room, so that it just makes sense. It would spread light across most of the room instead of only getting one side of the room with lighting. We also labeled what each room meant. For example, we got the kitchen, rooms, and we even have the garage labeled.
Our next step was figuring out the elevator, so we realized that when you have the polarities to one way, this would be on the camera it might look counterclockwise, but in real life this is going clockwise. And if we reverse the battery, we see that it's going counterclockwise this time. So with the issue of the motor, we have to find a way to be able to reverse the polarity to make the elevator function to go up as well as go down. So recently I worked on a lamp, and the way that it works is there's a little spindle inside that has 4 prongs. One has a negative to positive and one has a positive to negative. So if we find a way to make contact with one with the little spring mechanism, we could have it one polarity and then another clicker to be the opposite polarity.
So we were able to solder 2 battery holders together so that we could put a 1.5 volt battery in each, so that the whole house lighting would be powered by 3 volts. And we were planning to put these battery holders into the corner of the garage. It could kind of look like maybe like a water heater, or maybe we could keep it hidden within a box. But yeah, it's just great how we were able to just connect both of these battery holders together. In order to make sure that our walls were straight and that we would follow the same dimensions that we had on our floor plan, we used this owl-shaped ruler to keep the bottom and the right side of the wall straight. And for the wall cutting diagonal to connect the two walls, we used this triangle-shaped ruler to make sure that it stayed at a 45-degree angle. Alright, we took this picture after finishing our first floor plan. As you can see, there are some walls missing, but the walls missing on the right side are purposely missing because that is the side at which it's going to be open, so that we could look at the inside of the house. And the wall missing on the garage part, it just open because it's a garage. And as you can see, we cut open the doors into the walls of each room in the first floor. You can see the front door and the doors that connect each room to each other. It's also important to point out the lines that are cut into the wall. As you can see, for one of the walls inside of the first floor, you could see that there is a line cut through the upper part of the wall. And this is so we could run the wires from the battery that is going to be in the garage to each room, so that we could provide lighting for each room. So this is our second floor design done. As you can see, it's really simple. We have our 3 rooms. Still, we are making use of the lines cut into the walls so that we could run the wire through from the garage. Not much to point out here other than we have all these tools laid out just to make sure that everything's perfect and it is stable. One thing I did forget to mention is that after we are done with the lighting and the wires are all run through the walls, we are planning to get poster board and put it over each of the wooden structure so that the wires would be hidden just like a real life house. Alright, so this is a closer look up at the slices that we made into the walls. As you can see, there's a cross at the end. It's crossed like that so the wire could reach lower down the wall, so that we could put a switch there at a reasonable height. And it extends to the top of the wall so that the wire could reach to the other side, so that it would just be more easier for us to wire each room. This is just another view of the second story of our house. So this is a side view of the house from the open part of it. This is a closer look at a garage, but without the lighting. Just took this to show where exactly we are planning to put our battery to light up the house. Alright, so this image shows the line that cuts through the garage, the top of the garage, and it runs through the outside of the second story wall. And I took this to show how the wire from the battery is going to reach into the second floor. It's going to travel across that split, and it's going to go through the ceiling of the second story rooms.